Welcome to SLP Nerdcast. I'm Kate, one of the hosts of the show. This episode is a little bit of a sneak peek for a course that we have coming up in February that has been in the works for a long time. The course is an advanced level course on childhood apraxia of speech and really focuses on not just the knowledge and the research and the evidence behind childhood apraxia of speech, but also the skills that you need as a clinician to improve your competency. Without spoiling too much of it for you, here is an interview with Mike Bright, our course instructor, to tell you a little bit more about why this course is so special. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We're here to talk about the course that you are going to teach for us in a couple of months. And before I hit the record button, you started telling me a little bit about it. I immediately got 1,000 questions and figured I would just ask you live on the air so that everybody else could hear a little bit about it. So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about what the continuing education landscape is like right now for childhood apraxia of speech? Like, what is out there?
Sure. Well, I guess I would say that I have been to a lot of CAS courses. I've been to the ones that last a day. I've been to the ones that are half day. You all asked me to try to squeeze CAS into hour-long podcasts.
I know we like to torture you that way.
And see how fast I can talk. And I think what those each of those formats provides is a lot of information, which is a big part of what folks need to know. But there's also a point past which you can't go with information alone. You have to have some experience. And so when you invited me to make this course, I didn't want to just do a knowledge-based, information-based course, because that's out there, that's been done. And I don't think I've completely reinvented the wheel, but I've really tried to focus on sharing some of the experience that I have been privileged to have just because of circumstances and how folks have been coming to me. So basically, I was trying to think about ways that I could share my experience, and wanted to provide as many listening opportunities for people so that they can hear some of the things that I'm hearing when I listen to a child's speech, especially when there's questions about motor speech involvement. What does a disrupted co-articulatory transition sound like? And what does it sound like in one child? And how might it sound different in another child and still be this little symptom that we're really trying to hook onto because it tells us there's something going on in the motor system. I'm fortunate to have lots of families who are willing to share audio and sometimes video clips of their children. So that is embedded throughout this course so that we can first, in isolation, listen. You'll listen, I'll listen, and then the next week, you might reflect on, or in between weeks, you might have an assignment which asks you to reflect on some of the things that you heard. And then coming back into the next week's lecture, you'll hear what I heard. And we may hear some of the same things, we may hear different things, but the idea of tuning our ears to some of these variables that are particularly important to me as someone who's thinking about motor speech, because it's a different way to listen than we have had the opportunity to be trained in. So I'm really hoping to use cases and use audio samples and even just use stories to try to tell what it looks like when this stuff happens, so that people have a little bit more of a stable foundation from which to make decisions, so that they're not scrambling for, oh my gosh, this is all so unfamiliar, so unusual. I'm just trying to keep myself contained, but to actually have some basis in, oh yeah, this seems like this might be something along these lines, and to have some a path forward. So we'll definitely cover some of the knowledge base if people are not familiar with childhood apraxia of speech, but really the week to week job that I feel like I have is to train the course taker into someone who's more comfortable around childhood apraxia of speech.
That's awesome. I love the concept of working on not just knowledge, but skills, because as clinicians, if we don't have the skills, then our knowledge is useless, right?
Yep.
And as I reviewed your syllabus, when we go through these courses and preparing these courses, we go through a peer review process internally, and then these syllabi get reviewed by the dean at Fitchburg State University before they get approved. And as we were looking through it, I also remember being excited that you included some components of counseling in the course as well. Is that right? Because I think that's such a critical, I don't know anything about apraxia of speech other than what you've taught me. But I think that's such a huge piece to so much of what we do. And I was so happy to see you include that. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit too.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad that was interesting to you, and I'm sure that your experience in the AAC world probably exposes you to a lot of the same opportunities to use these counseling skills. So for me, I'm using childhood apraxia of speech as that framework to talk a little bit about what comes up when a family thinks that their child has apraxia, and how might that be for them, and how might it be when you tell them that yes, in fact, this child does, and how might it feel like when you tell them you don't think that the child has childhood apraxia of speech, that it's something else. These kind of very destabilizing but important conversations that I feel like are some of the most important things that we do in our work to allow a family to better understand their child, and to give them a sense of, hey, this is all really complicated, and it's really not something that I, the parent, have experience or training in, but I've got a partner here in this clinician who really seems comfortable and grounded, and starting to see a way forward. So yeah, I think you can't talk about it without the counseling piece, for sure.
And I love that you said the word partner. I think that so many opportunities are missed in our field to really embrace the person-centered approach and the counseling approach. And I just love that you weave that into your work. It's one of the many reasons that we asked you to produce this course with us. So to those of you who are interested in enrolling for this course, the first day is February 4th of 2023. It is 4 weeks long. It is offered for a whopping 1.4 ASHA CEUs, which is 14 hours of professional development and 1 optional graduate credit through our partnership with Fitchburg State University. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience about why they should take this course, other than gaining the skills and having an opportunity to sort of be mentored by you through this process?
I think that the one thing that I would love to emphasize is I think it's going to be fun.
Love that.
Like, I like to be a goofball. Well, not that I like to be. I am a goofball, and I can't keep it in. So
That's awesome.
I really even though it's asynchronous, I really hope that folks feel like it's not a chore that they have to get through, but it's kind of opening into something that could be fun to explore together. So yeah,
Having worked with you many times, I can confirm that you are a goofball and lots of fun. So anybody who wants to take this, I'm sure that is the case. I'm sure. Thank you so much for offering to do this with us. And we're so excited to share more of your knowledge with the world, with the speech pathology world. And if there's nothing else to say, then we'll wrap it up.
All right. Thank you.
You can find more information about this course using the link in the show notes. Early bird pricing is available through January 14th, and we are so excited that this has finally come to fruition and we're able to open it up to the public. Seats are limited to 30 participants, so if you are interested, we encourage you to register as soon as possible. Again, a huge thanks to Mike for producing this course with us. We're so excited that we're finally able to talk about this and release it to the world. Email us anytime with questions.